Hey y'all, it's Heather. We're pulling a little switcheroo this week. Your weekly Freaky Friday is dropping today, and our regularly scheduled full-length episode will be out this Friday instead. Thanks for rolling with us with this change of plans. That just means you'll have an all-new episode for you coming for this long weekend. So sit back and enjoy today's odd but true tales from you, and we'll see you again this Friday for a brand new episode. Thanks so much for listening, and now I get to say it. Let's get freaky.
A bump in the night, your heart fills with dread. Probably a murderer who wants you dead. It could be a ghost, a demon, or worse. Perhaps you're the victim of a witch's curse. It's hopeless, you're doomed. You'd call a priest if you could. You'd rather just listen to who? Sinisterhood.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Freaky Friday, where we tell your odd but true stories. It is in the United States, Memorial Day Friday. So shout out if you get a 3 or 4 day weekend, and shout out if you don't, because oftentimes our 3 or 4 day weekends are made possible by folks who do not get those 3 and 4 day weekends. So shout out on both ends of the spectrum. If you're working or you're free, hopefully you're having a good one.
Well, are any of us free? Ponder that this Memorial Day weekend.
I love my therapist. Y'all are quite similar. In fact, she was like, I don't really care about holidays other than like Christmas or ones where I have to get with my family. So she was like, I'll be working. Do you want to have a session on Monday? I was like, yes, I'll also be working. I'll also have a session on Monday.
Oh, man. Well,
just like,
shout
what's
out
the point?
if you're listening on YouTube and you're like, Christy looks really sad, like she's been crying. No, that's just my allergies that literally, like, can't even put anything on my face because it's just tears streaming down.
You sent me that gif of Ron Swanson earlier whenever they're asking about allergies, and he's like, cowardice, weak-willed men, and hazelnuts. And you're like, and cottonwood and pollen.
Oh, man. It's doing true. Me in today, like so many others. So
flies through the air like it is a snow globe outside.
It
but it's allergens. You can see it.
I'm like, you're not the good white stuff we want flying through the air.
No,
snow.
Exactly. That brings with it lovely weather. So, yeah. Well, I think we said it on Sunday Scaries too, but we're thinking about all of y'all in Central America, like the Central United States, who were impacted by these horrible tornadoes, especially in Kentucky, where it was an unstaffed National Weather Service outpost that was subjected to some government layoffs. And unfortunately, people did not get warnings in time. So a lot of casualties and damage.
Yes. Illinois, Missouri, all parts
Kentucky.
of the Midwest. Man, the footage is it's always a stark reminder of how small and insignificant we are compared to Mother Nature.
More than one person were like, exactly what we were watching, where they're like, it was perfectly sunny. And then like 20 minutes later, hell was unleashed upon us all. And then after it was done, it was sunny again. And the one, I won't say it's good because her house was still destroyed, but I did see a video of an older woman in Oklahoma, kind of sad that she had lost her dog and she really was upset. And then in the middle of the interview, she's like, I wiggled free. And then someone off camera is like, that's a dog. And she turns and her dog unwriggles himself from the wreckage, gets out and comes to her. She's like, help me. And they get him out. And she said, that's my second prayer. My first prayer was, God, just let me be safe. And my second one was, please let my dog be safe. And I thought he only answered one, but thank you guys. He answered the second one. I was like, that's what, it's like everybody's houses and stuff are destroyed, but the love that can still remain. So
some things aren't replaceable.
Truly.
But even the things that are, when it's all taken from you in a matter of seconds, I can't imagine the overwhelming sense of grief and like, what the fuck do we do? Where do we even start? Yeah, it's just, you literally have to rebuild everything.
Every corner of the states is touched by something, from wildfires on one coast to the floods and the ground falling out from the other coast, and now right down the middle as well with these tornadoes.
It's almost like the world's telling us to get our shit together before it gets its shit together for us.
Right. For like, don't make me come in there. And it's coming in there a little bit at a time. So, well, we are thinking of all of y'all.
Yes, definitely. And if you have a 3-day weekend, make the most of it.
For sure.
We all deserve some
Joy.
fun stuff to do right now. So I hope you're able to do that.
So I say, when life is beating you down, joyfulness is an act of resistance and resilience, certainly. So hopefully you can find that.
Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get freaky. This first one is from your daughter, who had quite a time. It is called The Time I Tailgated with a Murderer. Hi all, longtime listener, first-time caller here. First off, I wanted to thank you both for creating such a fun, accepting, and healing space for your listeners. Y'all are one of my favorite podcasts. Please keep doing what you're doing. People out here appreciate you so, so much. Many years ago, I was a junior in college at Indiana University. IU isn't great at football. Tailgates, like most big state schools, are unreal. Everyone shows up super early to the tailgate fields and participate in drinking and debauchery until the game starts. Then most people head home and some go into the game. This game was no different. It was sometime in September and the weather was warm but not hot. Perfect day for a tailgate. I got up early and headed to the tailgate fields with my sorority. For whatever reason, after I'd had a few drinks and it was still hours before the game, I decided I no longer wanted to be there, but I still wanted to tailgate. So I called up my friend who wasn't in a sorority. We'll call her Tina. Tina had mentioned a party she was going to that I was more than welcome to attend. So I made the trek from the fields to a street where she could easily pick me up. By the time Tina picked me up, I was definitely tipsy. She took me to Taco Bell for a snacky and back to her place before we went to the next tailgate at Tina's friend's apartment. The group of friends Tina was part of all knew each other from high school or were all from the same area. I knew many of them through her, but was a peripheral person when they were all together, if that makes sense. So after my Taco Bell, we went to meet up with all of these kids from northwestern Indiana. We got to the apartment, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this apartment is so nice. I'm so glad I'm here instead of a muddy field trying to evade a drinking ticket. And I continued to drink. I talked to people. I met new people. I took pulls from a fifth of American vodka, which probably cost $10. I was living my best college girl dreams. The only memorable thing that happened was someone accidentally bonked heads with me while we were both taking pulls from different bottles. No one was hurt, but it was a drunken moment where I remember telling myself not to cry. But that's it. Tailgate was a blast. I don't even remember if I made it to the game. It was so long ago. A year or so goes by, and my friend Tina brings up the tailgate, and what she told me still sticks with me to this day. Tina told me there was a guy at the tailgate who was now a convicted murderer. Apparently, this guy had killed his ex-girlfriend, Amanda Bach, in the early morning hours before the tailgate. He then got into his car and drove the 3+ hours south to IU, where he met up with friends and ended up at the same party as us. Everyone else who was there was subpoenaed to give statements about this guy's behavior and temperament during the party. My jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe what she was telling me. The only reason I didn't get subpoenaed was because no one remembered I was there. Story of my motherfucking life, but this time it probably helped me. If I had been called to make a statement, I would have embarrassingly said I don't remember anything from the tailgate except for getting drunk. Attached is the news about the murder. At the very end of one of them, it mentions he was arrested in Bloomington at IU when visiting friends the day after the murder. He's been sentenced to 60 years in prison, and the victim's family even sued his father, a police officer, for not securing his guns properly, as the guy used one of his father's firearms to kill his ex-girlfriend. Some articles also state his father may have been trying to cover up the crime for his son by not letting authorities search his property after Amanda's body was found. It's an incredibly sad case and a completely senseless killing. She was only 19. The scariest thing is people who did remember him being at the party said he was acting completely, quote, normal, like nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Thank you for reading this. If you want more stories about my murderous coworker or being at IU when Lauren Spearer went missing, let me know. 2 more devastating stories I never thought I'd be so close to. Best, Anonymous.
Well, that's so eerie to have, not only to have him there, but the other folks, I mean, I know my dear darling doesn't remember what happened at the party and doesn't really remember him, which been there, totally fair. But to say he was normal, he was acting, his temperament was like nothing happened is so disturbing.
And he knows exactly what he did. It was like we were talking about on Sunday Scaries. These people are just out and about, and you never know when you're like partying with someone. You don't know
who's in the room,
where they just came from. You know what I mean? Or what they just did. And then later when you find out, you're like, holy shit. Like, we all operate under the assumption that for the most part, if we're hanging out with people in mixed company and we know them, like everybody's cool here. But then you like, find out
they know him from home.
Yeah, he had killed his girlfriend and then drove to this party and was getting drunk with all of his friends.
And just acting like it was a normal tailgate.
Yeah.
Because everybody else, you're just like, oh, it's a normal day. Like they probably came from class or from the gym or from home and sleeping, not thinking it was the worst thing. God, her poor parents as well. I'm glad he was caught, but that doesn't just, doesn't do much for them for bringing their daughter back. They did reach a settlement in the lawsuit against his dad for failing to secure his firearm. So they reached a settlement out of court and then dropped it. So again, it's, someone gets punished, but do they really? Because it's my understanding the dad had insurance. So really he doesn't pay much, maybe a deductible or something, it's stuff like that where it's like, is it really justice?
Yeah. And we've seen, I'm not sure when this, well, I guess
2011
was when this happened. And even more so now, parents are being charged with not securing firearms when they're used in a crime where their kids were the perpetrators. And I agree. If you're going to own a gun, that's your right. But you better keep it locked the fuck up so shit like this doesn't happen.
With great power comes great responsibility. Truly. And a gun gives you the power to end the life of another. And so you have that responsibility, if you have it, to make sure, especially an impulsive teen like this 19-year-old, 18-year-old isn't going to cause what it seems like the article. Thank you for sending, Anonymous. It seems like a relationship issue. Yeah. Like she wanted to break up with him and he couldn't handle that. And the neighbors heard her trying to run and say, I can't believe it's ending this way. And to hear him, scream at her after he's done what he's done, to where obviously that's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Like he's going, please get up. And it's like, you can't undo it when you've done that. So he should never have had access to the gun to begin with, period. So God, what an eerie moment for Anonymous too, to be so close to that.
Very chilling. Tina's a real one, though. Anybody that'll pick you up from one party, take you to Taco Bell, and then take you to another party is a real one. And I don't know if I've had American vodka, but I certainly remember, what was the one that came in the big old plastic jug?
You talking about McCormick's?
McCormick's. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. That used to go in our
many times.
Bathtub punch or whatever we were making. We would all do, just the whole thing. It's like, might as well just get rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, no. Smells like and tastes like rubbing alcohol. Yeah, not a good one. Not a good one.
Your story brought back lots of memories, Anonymous.
Yes.
And like not memories where there should be memories and there's blanks in my head.
Yeah. And, all these stories always make me question, like, I mean, this could have been any of us and we just don't know,
Just at a party.
Yeah. Like, statistically, we definitely at some point in our lives partied with someone who's killed someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Or would go on to later kill someone.
Yeah. Or maybe like later in life.
Or do something else unfathomable, certainly.
Well,
think about that next time you're at a party.
Just look around. If it's not you,
look to your
somebody
left,
there.
Look to your right. One of those people is a heinous criminal. And maybe not yet, but someday they
might will be. Go through your friends list and just
scroll through. Yep.
Who could it be? Who
never.
Could it be?
And if you say never, that's the one you least expect.
Probably. Well, thank you, Anonymous, for sending that in.
Sinisterhood will be right back. I have gotten tired of clothes that looked cute online but felt cheap in real life. I want better fabrics, a better fit, just better everything. And with Quince, I got it. Their quality is incredible. Everything feels intentional and the prices are shockingly reasonable. It finally feels like my clothes match my standards. Quince offers everyday luxury without the markup. Think 100% European linen shorts and dresses from just $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and more. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince delivers high-end quality at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, they only partner with factories that follow safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices using premium fabrics and finishes you can feel good about. I recently received my Quince Vintage Wash Tencel button front dress in midnight blue. I love it. I wear it with a little white tank top and white sneakers. It is my perfect go-to summer outfit, so I can feel dressed up while also feeling comfortable because it is very fine looking, but also it gives you the breathability that you're looking for in that Texas heat, but all the while looking very cute, like much cuter than just like yoga pants and a t-shirt, which I usually wear. So check out Quince for all of your summer fashionista moves. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/creepy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/creepy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/creepy.
This next one's from Corey, and it's called, I was harassed by a man who committed the vehicular homicide of his girlfriend 6 months later. Hi, ladies. My name is Corey, and I discovered you two a while ago thanks to Taylor and Morgan over at Creeps and Crimes. I'm one of their OG pick-me besties. If you know, you know. I've been binging on all of your episodes whenever I get the chance. So refreshing to hear your perspective and actual sense, as I am deep in the trenches of the red state that takes pride in its former governor, Kristi Noem. You guys itch a part of my brain that I had no idea even needed a scratch. For that, I thank you. Before I begin the story, let me just say that as I am typing this, the sick feeling in my gut is bubbling back up again, the way it did the night of my interaction with him, and the way it has every time more local news has come out about this man and his crimes. I have severe anxiety as it is. Shout out to Boosperone for helping me through the worst moments, and this incident has made it hard for me to go out and enjoy myself. I'm on edge and reading the room, and if I see anyone that gives me the ick vibe, I will abandon ship. This incident happened March 11th, 2023. I had just broken up with the guy who I thought was the love of my life and my soulmate. I was grieving in a way that I hadn't before after having to call it quits. I was getting myself and my two tiny tots ready every morning, dropping them off at daycare, working my job in cancer care, picking said tiny tots up from daycare, and going home every day for almost 3 months. I was a shut-in. My bestie recognized that I needed that time, but after so long, she reached out and invited me to go cosmic bowling with her and her fiancé, as well as another friend. There would be 4 of us all together. I agreed that it was time to step out and reintegrate myself into society. So I found a babysitter, got myself dolled up, and met the group at the bowling alley. Things started out pretty normal. We went in, rented our shoes, paid for the games, etc. My bestie and I headed into the attached bar and ordered drinks for ourselves. We met the other 2 from our group and found that the lane we'd been given was next to a rowdy group of men. The way it was set up, we shared a seating area with this group, who were all very clearly intoxicated. The bowling alley was absolutely packed, so asking for another lane wasn't necessarily an option. As soon as we all started looking for a ball to use, one guy from the rowdy group approached me and told me I was beautiful, introduced himself as Seth. He asked for my name, and I was cordial and said it was Corey and went about my business. As the first game went on, he kept complimenting me and trying to start up conversations with me. I kept it cordial because I knew he was drunk and didn't want to cause a scene, but I was becoming uncomfortable. The rowdy group kept a steady flow of liquor going for themselves and became even more wasted. I ended up sitting back away from the lanes, behind everyone, to avoid more uncomfortable compliments and interactions. It was during the second game that I was walking past the group to take my turn bowling when he reached out and tried to grab my arm. I was already on guard and slipped my arm out of his grasp before his hand could fully close around it. I turned to him and said, "Please don't touch me." He responded that he was just trying to be friendly and that he wanted to add me on social media. I told him I don't hand out my social media info to strangers because I'm a single mom and have kids to protect and think about. He got a little upset at that point, so I took my turn and went back to my spot away from him. My friends had noticed everything that had happened throughout the 2 games and asked me if they should talk to him. At first, I said no, but I was dreading going down to the lanes past the rowdy group when my next turn came, so I finally said yes. My bestie's fiance went down and respectfully approached Seth's friends. He was in the bar getting even more to drink. They agreed that his behavior was getting excessive, and they would tell him to knock it off and would also try to cut him off from the bar. I took a couple more turns bowling, and he kept his hands to himself. But unfortunately, he was making some not-so-quiet remarks about staring at my ass and had his jaw visibly hanging open. I went up to my spot once again. When my next turn came around, I was frozen. I couldn't move. I tried to make myself, but I felt like I had a 1,000-pound weight in my stomach churning around. At this point, the other male in my group went down and confronted Seth directly and sternly. Then, all hell broke loose. Seth attempted to swing on the male from my group and missed, to which the male then threw a punch back and did not miss. All of the men in the rowdy group were on their feet, and in an instant, my best friend's fiance was in the thick of it as well. The bowling alley brawl began. My bestie and I watched horrified as everyone was throwing punches, grabbing, jabbing, kicking, and yelling. Then more guys from surrounding lanes joined in. I spoke with one of their girlfriends after things had settled down, and she said they had noticed his behavior throughout their time there as well. My bestie and I were in a spot where we couldn't exactly escape the scene before us, but we were yelling for help. The music was very loud. Finally, what appeared to be a manager of the bowling alley ran up to the situation looking absolutely bewildered. Eventually, some guys dragged Seth out on the floor by the collar of his shirt, kicking and screaming the whole way. Everyone in the bowling alley had stopped what they were doing and were all still staring. I was dizzy and sick. I knew it wasn't my fault, but I felt this shame burning away inside of me, as if I could have prevented this somehow by doing something differently at this time or that. All of the rowdy group headed out to the parking lot to retrieve their friend. One of them apologized hurriedly as he left. In their wake, the rowdy crew had left small empty bottles of Fireball and, wouldn't you know it, Seth's boots, because he was dragged out in his bowling shoes. I ran into him one time while I was at work. The Cancer Care Institute was finishing up some construction, and coincidentally, Seth worked for the glass company hired to do their part. As soon as we looked at each other, I ran for my life and stayed away from that area for the rest of my time working there. I never saw his face again until one day in September when I saw the news. He had been driving under the influence in town, recklessly at high speeds, hit a police car, and killed his girlfriend who was his passenger. I cannot explain the chill that crept through my entire being inside and out. I did not personally know Lexi, but I know a few people who did. They said she was a truly beautiful person. My heart goes out to all of her loved ones. I'll send a video I took of the aftermath, and my friends were able to get some footage of when the fight started from the manager of the bowling alley for you ladies to see. I'll also attach an article of the horrendous thing he did in September of 2023. You can read more details about it and his sentence. I truly hope that he never gets the chance to harass or harm another woman, because I am sure that there are many other women that he got away with treating that way before. When I do get reminded of all of this, all I can do is close my eyes and pray, please God, never again.
Oh my God. God, this guy's a menace.
Dude, the articles, here's where I have some problems. Well,
Certainly.
I got a lot. I believe this was his 4th DUI.
Yeah, they said it was his 4th DUI and the 2nd DUI in which he hit a police car.
Why does this motherfucker have a license?
At all. Yeah, especially if he's hit a police car before. I think you just don't have a license forever.
No.
Or, I mean, nowadays, especially, I mean, I guess you get into other cars. I was like, you get the breathalyzer machine you can put in people's car that, like, takes your picture so their buddy is not blowing for him or whatever. But, I mean, even so, they could just go borrow someone else's car and do something horrible. But, God, what a menace.
Yeah, sounds like alcohol plays an issue in everything that he gets involved in that is bad. And I'm not going to lecture anybody on drinking. I will just say I've been watching a lot of trial footage lately and reading a lot of stuff.
Dude.
And the common denominator in all of it is excessive alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, literally, we watched the Karen Reed trial and you go, if you just stayed at home that night and didn't go out and get drunk, everybody in a blizzard, and then drove drunk in a blizzard. A lot of people admitted to it.
Yeah.
Driving drunk in a blizzard. It's like, thank God more people weren't killed. And, one innocent person being killed is bad enough. But in this case, this guy is a repeat offender. And also the footage that you sent from this bowling alley, he's just out of control. Yeah. Exactly what happened, what you said happened. You see in the footage, a guy in a black jacket goes up just to speak to him, and he pushes him and just starts swinging on him.
He's a big dude too.
He is a meaty fella.
Yeah.
So yeah,
ogre is the term that came to mind.
Certainly. And several guys tried to knock him down, and he just kept getting up, probably because he's shit hammered drunk, wasted, and. Yeah, the just destruction that's in the bowling alley afterwards. And, it's just those, like you said, just the fireball bottles,
like you're at a house party.
Just trash.
This is a cosmic bowling alley group.
Treat it with respect.
Group. You just got little fireball bottles all over the place, his shoes. Like, people, again, I have done more partying in my life. We're going to get to a story in a minute with a line that I'm going to start now using, by the way.
It's great. It's a good line.
So I mean, I get it. I've done all sorts of stupid things drunk. I do not drink to get drunk anymore. I can't think of the last time I did that, mainly because I don't like the way it makes me feel. And to be hungover around children is hell on earth.
It's a special kind of
mine or other people's.
Yeah, it's a special kind of pain. I'm sure that headache being like, wake up.
Oh, dude. But all that to say is, like, you can have a good time without it becoming just a situation that is embarrassing for everybody and extremely dangerous. Also, here's another example of this dude that wouldn't shut the fuck up until a bunch of guys went over there and told him to shut the fuck up, including his own friends. And the other guys that weren't even involved, either of these groups, that jumped in, and later their girlfriends said, we saw them acting like it. I'm glad you jumped in. However, men, if you see this happening, say something before it gets to this point, to where we don't have to have a bowling alley brawl and this woman paralyzed with fear because of trauma she's probably endured in the past, and it's coming up now because she's in another situation like this. If you see something, say something.
That's what I think you're absolutely right. And in this case, in this case, I will say every one of those men in the rowdy group that did not stop him sooner are all complicit in her harassment. They're all complicit in the fight, and they're all complicit in the death of that woman later, because it is not, I guarantee you, it's not the first time that this guy has been out of control. He's had 3 prior DUIs. So continuing to go back and slam them down and go, well, Seth's not really my problem. It's like, Seth is a problem. And we keep inviting Seth to the parties, and we're facilitating Seth's behavior by doing shots with Seth, because we know Seth isn't going to have 3 drinks and not scream at a woman in a bowling alley to where she's like paralyzed with fear. So at some point, it's everybody's fault. Yeah. Like, it's like, you are your brother's keeper, literally. And I'm glad to see that, you're not alone going to this bowling alley, Corey, that you had your friends. It's like, no, I'm going to step up and say something. They shouldn't fucking have to.
Yeah.
But your friends should not be the ones, the victim's friends should not be the ones saying something. If the perpetrator is alone, that's one thing, and he's a lone wolf. But if he's got buddies he keeps coming back to, fuck every single one of those guys for not doing something sooner. That's some trash ass behavior, period. Like, all of the people I rolled with, when we had the shitty guy in the group, guess what my friends did? They go to the shitty guy and they stand next, like, you can't fucking say stuff like that.
Nice.
Man. Immediately, first time they say it. And then guess what? We stopped hanging out with him.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody was like, why'd you cut that guy to the group? I'm like, because of the shit he would scream at me.
Total
at those
asshole.
people. Yes, he was a piece of shit. So you abide it, you give him chances, and then you're like, we can't abide this anymore.
Once the people come down to the group and Seth is in the bar and everyone collectively agrees, yeah, he's out of control, including his friends, that's when you get your ass up, you go get Seth from the bar, and you leave. Yeah,
take his ass home. Like, he's harassing a woman. Like, I know you all want to play bowling or whatever, but like, fucking come
bowling
back.
is so fucking fun.
It's sacred.
I get it. But you can't ruin it for everybody else who's there to have a good time.
Exactly. Oh, goddamn. Well, Corey, I'm glad that you had those friends to back you up. And I'm sorry, like, on your first day going out, you had to run into this piece of shit.
Yeah. You're a real one for going through a breakup and taking care of 2 kiddos and working in cancer care. That is a lot just in a good relationship, not when you're going through it. So good for you for putting yourself back out there. Sorry that Seth fucked it up. And I'm real sorry that Seth took someone away years later that can never be replaced. The Pearl girl's parents. And whenever I hear those stories, I'm like, imagine how scared she probably was. Because the article was like, he's zipping in and out of traffic going like 60 miles an hour. And you know that you know he's drunk. Maybe you are too, but you know.
It doesn't matter.
It's just like, you literally have no control. And there's a madman behind the wheel of a car, which is a deadly weapon I don't say when you want it to be. It can be when you want it to be or when you don't intend for it to be, but you're drunk as shit. I think he was 2 times over the legal limit.
That's what they said. Yeah. So it's not like, there was a rainy night and it was unavoidable. I mean, it was a person who purposefully, repeatedly got shit hammered, drunk, wasted, and purposefully, repeatedly got behind the wheel of a vehicle and 2 times hit a police car.
That's so
and
insane.
1 time killed a person.
Yeah.
So it's why I believe deeply in rehabilitative efforts for people that get stopped for DUI, but also for stringent and draconian punishment for repeat offenders, where it's like, we tried to help you. We tried to even maybe help you a second time. But after that, it's like, it is 2 dangerous cars on the people with stone cold sober people are fucking wretched at driving. Don't even give them one drink
or shit. And then you got a drunk person, maybe also on their phone. No, you got to have your license taken away and work to get it back by showing that you are putting in the work to actually change.
Goddamn. Well, thank you for sharing that, Corey. And, God bless her family. Poor Lexi's family. Sinisterhood will be right back. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack sponsor. IQBAR is the better-for-you plant protein-based snacks made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. IQBAR's plant-based protein bars are made with high-quality ingredients to support both body and brain, and they're completely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners, making them a clean, natural snack you can feel good about anytime. With 9 delicious flavors like mint chocolate chip, chocolate sea salt, banana nut, toasted coconut chip, lemon blueberry, and peanut butter chip, there's something for every craving. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are starting their day on the right foot with IQBAR's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. IQBAR, we have the ultimate sampler pack, and I love these things. I put them in my bike bag. I went on a 12.5 mile bike ride on Saturday with my family, and halfway through, we were like, we need a snack. I was like, y'all like delicious mint chocolate chip flavors? And indeed, my family does. And we were having some of this IQBAR going, this is good. And I was like, not only is it good, it's good for your brain and has all of those brain boosting nutrients in there and none of the sugar crash. So right now, IQBAR is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQBAR products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, text CREEPY to 64,000. Text CREEPY to 64000. That's CREEPY to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Well, this next one's from Shane, and it's called Parent Lore, When My Mom Became an Unwilling Hostage Negotiator. Hi, guys. Been a huge fan of you forever and love the show. My mom is an amazing woman who lived a whole life before having 4 kids and occasionally drops some mom lore seemingly randomly. Somehow, I've known the woman for 34 years, and she never told me this one until last year. Recently, she told the story of the time she became an impromptu hostage negotiator. All names have been changed. In the 70s, my mom worked security at the local shopping center, where she and her ragtag team were close-knit and also friends with the local cops that they interacted with regularly. Her coworker Minnie was dating Guy, who was a local cop who had a drinking problem and was not the most stable man. They were planning on getting married, and my mom, while hanging out with them, said they should have Paul Stooky's The Wedding Song as their first dance and played it for them on her guitar. They loved it and asked my mom if she would sing it at their small, intimate wedding. My mom said, hell no, because she can't sing for shit. They kept begging her, so she finally gave in and said she would. One day at work, my mom was doing her security stuff, and her friend from the local police force came in and said she needed to come with him immediately, and he'd explain on the way. He drove to Minnie and Guy's place, where Guy had Minnie's son held hostage with a gun to him. The police were outside trying to talk him down through the window when my mom was given the bullhorn and told to talk to him. My mom, having no idea what was happening or having any training in hostage negotiation, decided she had no choice but to step the fuck up. She asked what was going on, and Guy explained that he and Minnie had gotten in a fight, and she'd taken off and that she would never want to marry him now. And my mom, placating a drunk man with a gun, reassured him that they could talk it through and the wedding would still happen. Guy said something along the lines of, yeah, right, probably won't even end up singing that song for our first dance. And my mom said, of course she would, that she'd even been practicing for it and everything. Guy then told my mom to prove it. So there my mom was, suddenly a hostage negotiator, and now she was singing the wedding song, badly, through a bullhorn in hopes of saving a child's life. It worked out in the end, as police were able to sneak in through the back while she was singing and apprehended Guy without harm to anyone. I don't know that he would have hurt the kid, but I like to think that my mom saved that kid's life. A true hero that I always knew she was. My mom has been through so much in the past couple years with health issues, many hospital stays where we thought we might lose her. Shortly after she started to recover, we lost my dad pretty suddenly, 1 year ago today. She means the world to me, even though she never told me she was a real-life hero until last year. P.S. I know it's a true story because we ran into Minnie after her not seeing my mom in 40-ish years, and she confirmed it. P.P.S. Next time you're in Salem, please let me know so we can hang out and I can show you around. Keep it creepy, Shane.
Oh, well, thank you, Shane. And I'm sorry about the loss of your father.
Man, I love when parent lore just comes out of nowhere and you're like, what just happened? Grandpa knows who killed JFK. You're like, oh, yeah, did I never tell you that before? You're like, no. He
was there. He put some of the rivets into the Cadillac or whatever. You're like, what? How?
She's like, I never told you about the time I talked a guy down from, oh, okay, well, here you go.
She's like, I don't usually sing in public. That one time for the hostage reasons. But other than that, I don't sing in public. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry, the what time for what reason? It's like, well, there was a kid. He was held at gunpoint. The cops had me come out and sing. It's
the
like
70s,
wait. Yes, the 70s for the cops to go, here's the bullhorn. You talk to him. And she's like,
talk to him.
Okay. Hi, I guess.
Sometimes, though, it takes a person that, knows the person to, get through to them. I am going to play less than 10 seconds of this song because
we don't get busted.
I don't know who is it again?
Paul Stooky?
Paul
Stooky?
The wedding song to me is the one that,
like, Here Comes the Bride.
Yeah. Here we go.
Come on, Paul, give it to us.
To be among you at the calling of your heart. Rest assured it's true.
God, that was a bar right there.
He's
this
going
troubadour
hard.
is acting on his part. Now imagine,
come on, Stooky,
Shane's mom singing this through a bullhorn.
Mm-hmm. The troubadour is out there already being like, I'm not that good of a singer. Please don't make me. And they're like, it'll be great through this.
They're like,
you're like, the
acoustics
acoustics
have
are
never
bad.
been higher. We need you to sing
hit the notes. Like, I'm not going to be able to save this kid. God. I mean, like you said, you hope that guy didn't have it in him to hurt him, but also the fact that he's even in this situation, accidents can also happen.
Yeah.
And that's not good either. So I'm glad the cops were like, create a diversion.
Yeah. Also,
And mom just fucking did it.
traumatize the kid, regardless if he does something or not. You're being held at gunpoint.
Every time
Just
you hear
like
that
to
song.
point out again, this man had a drinking problem, and this also involved alcohol. So
Yeah.
every day, I think, isn't it crazy that marijuana is illegal, but we just sell this stuff all over the goddamn town and let people just drive around after they've drank it?
I guarantee that if everybody at that bowling alley had been on edibles, there would have been no punches
None of
thrown.
that would have happened. It would have been the most cosmic of cosmic bowling
I'm like,
games
what
ever.
are you doing? Why do you fireball at the cosmic bowling alley? You're doing it wrong.
Nobody
You are doing
does
it wrong.
fireball at cosmic
Ugh.
bowling.
But yeah, I could do an entire lecture on why it is illegal and it's a scam and it's all. But anyways, but all that to say, and why alcohol is legal. But you're right. I think harm wise, if you just are measuring harm, certainly it is. Yeah, again, I think if this guy was high, he probably is not going to have the kid on held hostage. He's probably playing him this record in the house.
He's like,
Being like,
hey, has your mom ever told you about Paul Stookie? Let me
Yeah.
play this for you. And then
Drop
he just
the
starts
needle.
crying. Yeah.
yeah.
As
Good
he
Lord.
rolls another one up. Well, it's
It's an illness, truly.
it,
Alcoholism.
for
It
sure. And
really
I mean,
is,
I've
so.
had people in my family, in my life who have
Mhm.
suffered from this illness. So,
Mhm.
it's nothing to be taken lightly.
Certainly.
It's wild that society just
Pushes it.
pushes it as much as they do.
Yeah, you
Socially,
kind of don't realize it.
yeah, until you stop drinking, you don't really realize how much it is a part of most people's day to day, especially in a social gathering.
Yeah, where it's borderline like and then it's interesting to tell you can tell perhaps folks that might struggle when they become fixated on your not drinking at a
Mhm.
party and to where they're like, how do you do it? Can you tell me more about that? That's really and it's like it's not really a struggle for me, but I hear that perhaps it is for you.
Mhm.
And that's the type of compassionate listening that makes the world go round and keeps people from getting into bowling alley fights and keeps dear Shane's mother from having to be a real fucking hero. But what we've learned from this story is when the moment comes, Mama's ready.
You gotta
She's
step
ready to
up.
pick up that bullhorn, and she did not say no. She was like, "All right, I'm doing it."
You got to do it.
When I was in my lawyer days, it was weird if you didn't order a drink.
Mhm.
So I got to just where I would always order a club soda with lime, and then people thought I was drinking double vodkas
Fuck
all
yeah.
the time. And I'm just like, I'm on my second one.
Like
And I was
Heather
like, I'm gonna have
McKinney
heartburn.
can really hold her liquor.
It's a back, dog. And it's like, it was Topo Chico the whole time. They'll never know if you're
Mm-mm.
drinking Topo. This is brought to you by Topo Chico, but
I wish, please, Topo Chico, if you're listening.
any day. We love the bubbles. Well, thank you, Shane, for your kind words, as well as for sharing your awesome mom
Yes.
lore. And I think we both hope that she's feeling better and the hospital days are behind us.
Yes, definitely. And I can't wait to go back to Salem. A good friend texted me just 2 days ago and was like, I'm in Salem right now. Where should I go? And thank you to all the listeners who have sent us recommendations because I got to pull them all together and send her a very good list.
And one place not to go, which is where we got
Yes.
our psychic reading.
Yes.
If you listen to the Boston episode.
Oh, man.
Oh,
But if we go
thank you,
back,
Shane.
I believe it's Crow Haven that everyone, I might crow something. I think it's Haven. But everyone
Follow the
says that's
crows.
legit. So we got to go back to that one.
Yeah, we're following the crows for sure.
Mhm.
Well, this next one is from Nat, and the subject line is Amish-ish family lore. Nat writes, hello, ladies. Insert the usual praise here for your amazing show and amazing selves. I'm currently catching up on your backlog after finding y'all about a year ago from National Park After Dark. I don't usually skip forward, but when I saw what episode you released this week, I had to listen right away. You see, I come from a long line of Anabaptists. My heritage on both sides can be traced back to Switzerland and the Amish/Mennonite movements. I currently identify as Mennonite, not the conservative skirt/covering wearing kind, but my grandma's, my dad's mom's dad, was raised Amish. My family still lives in an Amish community type town called Yoder. I went to grades K through 6 with a class of 15 that was about half Amish and half English, the name for anyone not Amish, and I had many Amish friends growing up. Overall, the Amish are the kindest people you will ever meet. They will work hard, but be willing to give the shirt off their back for anyone, Amish or English, that's in need. Plus, the Amish moms brought the best homemade treats when it was their kids' birthdays in school. That being said, I can definitely see how the system can become corrupt. I heard from one lady whose family left the church that she would be reading her Bible, but have to hide it if she heard a tractor coming down the road, not letting anyone see her reading the Bible herself. But the kids raised in it definitely have a chance to see the other side. Y'all didn't mention it, but after an Amish kid turns 16, they get to go into Rumspringa until they get married, which basically means the rules no longer apply. And no one goes harder than an Amish kid on Rumspringa, not even Christy in high school. Anyway, back to my family lore, I promised. As I mentioned, my great-great-grandparents were the ones who left the Amish church. Well, sometime after that, one of the boys in that family, my great-uncle, I think, lost his leg trying to jump from a train. He wanted to bury it in the local Amish cemetery, but the Amish would not let him. So, what else to do but sneak in at night with some of his buddies and bury it anyway? So, a couple weeks go by, and my great-great-uncle couldn't shake the phantom pain between the toes of his lost leg. So his buddies once again snuck into the cemetery at night and dug up the leg. They found a single small stone between the toes that my great-uncle was complaining about. So they moved it, reburied the leg, and no more phantom pain. Weird. The shadows of Amish culture still goes through my family, with my uncle saying, "Do my hound," meaning dumb dog under his breath after the dog got into his strawberry patch. My Grandma sewing a quilt for each of us 9 grandkids, and Grandma bouncing my niece on her leg while singing a fun song in Pennsylvania Dutch. I honestly hope I can keep my Amish/Mennonite heritage alive. It is rooted in community and hard work with some awesome food to go along with it. Thanks for covering this community, and if you ever want a taste of Amish culture, come by Yoder, Kansas, and get some whoopie pies or fresh baked bread. Keep it creepy, Nat. P.S. I attached my ancestry DNA test and journeys for proof I'm basically full-blooded Amish/Mennonite.
Well, thank you, Nat, for the proof.
Right?
This is
it just says
interesting
Amish as
to
fuck.
see these. Yeah, it just says Amish AF, and that's it.
Oh man, wow! What a community to grow up in.
Yeah. By all accounts, great people will give you the shirt off their back, and this Rumspringa I am familiar with because I believe growing up Amish.
It's a show, right?
Yeah, and it's tracks like a group of teens, which 16 seems so young to be like,
they're like,
I know that you have no idea how things are going on out there, but now that you're 16, here you are. Go do whatever. Oh, luck. Man. That's pretty young to unleash them to no rules, just
the
right.
World. Yeah.
But these kids certainly did go harder than me in high school. Because if you haven't had any exposure and then you're like given the freedom, that's a lot. And also until you're married.
You got time, baby.
Or unless you get married when you're 17, 18 and you're like, well,
19,
I got a
20.
year to sow my oats here. But yeah, that's, I want to, not now because that'd be weird if I partied with the kid who was in Rumspringa now / illegal. But back
Take me
then,
on Rumspringa with you.
I would have loved to have met a kid when I was in high school that was in Rumspringa and just, man.
Show them the ropes
of
the world.
Or they may have shown me.
It sounds like it. But I love this about the trying to bury the leg and having the phantom pain.
Golly.
And then once you move the rock, you don't have it anymore. Also, good friends to be like, we got you, bro. We'll go and we'll dig it back up for you.
That's a fascinating subject, is when people have limbs amputated and have phantom pains or itches and stuff like that. It's a lot to look into if you're into that.
Yeah, or phantom feelings where it's like they touch it somewhere else and they, yeah.
There's also people that like feel like they weren't supposed to be born with like a limb, like their right arm or something, and they take it upon themselves to take care of that. So
surgical means
It
or
is-
non-surgical.
Yeah. Any type of surgical stuff kind of makes my tummy do flip-flops. So I don't read a ton about it, but it is quite something to look into.
There's something to it. It's, I just saw today, I'm probably explaining this incorrectly. However, it is my understanding that at CERN, in the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, they were able to momentarily turn iron into gold by manipulating the protons and neutrons within I think it's iron, and momentarily by manipulating the amount of protons and neutrons, it molecularly turns to gold and then it turns back. But that's what like alchemy was all about, right? Is they're like, we can turn it into gold. Nicholas Flamel down in the Paris catacombs. But the fact that all we are is clusters of molecules held together by kind of unknowable at this point energy that can be broken apart and re-put back together, Mike TV style kind of. The guy feeling the thing between his toes, it doesn't strike me as like fake. I'm like, I can't explain it.
It's a thing that I've heard about in many cases.
Times. Yeah, but I want to know the why, because I think it's true. But I'm like, keep busting up those protons and neutrons, friends. Tell us what's going on over there. Although maybe that is what's tearing at the nature of reality and why we have the cascading of unceasing news that we have every day, because we like knocked ourselves into a different timeline.
All I hear is I'm made of gold, and if I try hard enough, I could make a golden statue of myself.
They just put you in the, I don't know if it's like a dryer situation where you sort of tumble this Hadron Collider.
Like a rock tumbler.
Yeah, they tumble you enough, you turn to gold, baby. I think that's what it meant. I'm no physicist, but that's how I understand it.
You're almost one, though.
We're close.
Yeah,
well, thank you for that.
It's weird. I think maybe like it's something to do with synapses and shit in your brain and neurons, and like your brain can't or doesn't process that isn't there anymore. But because you know what an itch would feel like in that area, or like pain would feel like, you feel it. I don't know. But the rock thing having like seemed like the cause of it is extra weird.
Isn't it weird? And then the spot too, where it's like, it feels like there's something between my toes. Like,
what a pain in the ass too, especially when you don't even have your leg anymore. You're like, this is a bitch, and I don't even have my leg anymore.
This fucking sucks. I gotta send my buddies to the cemetery.
Good buddies there.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Nat. Sinisterhood will be right back. I have so many parents in my life that are my closest friends and family members, and I know all y'all are always looking for ways to keep your kids engaged and learning without it feeling like homework for everybody. Sometimes they need a little extra help with a subject. Other times they just want to dive deep into a totally random interest because, you know, kids love to hyperfixate on the most unexpected things. I hear about deep sea creatures more than other adults, I think, probably from all the youngins I hang out with. That is why we were so excited when we found OutSchool. OutSchool is an online learning platform that lets kids ages 3 to 18 learn on their own terms. They've got thousands of interactive small group classes, video classes, tutoring, and even clubs for kids who want to geek out together over their favorite topics. Plus, their teachers are experts in their field, so your kid gets real knowledge, not just another YouTube rabbit hole. OutSchool has fun and educational summer camps opening now for enrollment, including both week-long camps and 6-week-long camps. Some examples, they have crime, forensics, and master detective summer camp. Can you solve the crime? They have summer art camp with drawing and painting, as well as Roblox game design and a NASA curriculum course. So whether you're homeschooling, looking for enrichment, or just need something to keep your kid busy for the summer, OutSchool has something for them. If you want to try OutSchool, you can now get up to $20 off your child's first class, camp, or tutoring session for a limited time. This exclusive discount is only available when you go to outschool.com/creepy and use code creepy at checkout. That's outschool.com/creepy and use code creepy for up to $20 off your child's first class, camp, or tutoring session on OutSchool. OutSchool, take charge of their future. This next one is from Susie. And the subject line is practice talking to cops. Hi, thank you both for being you and for all your hard work. This is a pretty inconsequential story that still gave me some profound insights, and I wanted to share my experience and a trick I was taught in case it could help someone else. I grew up in the 90s with older, less law-abiding citizens. I grew up in the 90s with older, less law-abiding siblings I could learn from, and I always considered myself a good student of Mama Heather and Judge Christie, so I felt confident that I knew how to behave around intimidating cops. I got out of an MIP once by just saying, I don't know, until the cop left. Where was my brave and brazen 18-year-old self when I needed her recently? 20 years later, I went for my global entry interview. I'm aware of the creepy implications of global entry, but please trust I made an informed decision that was best for me and my lifestyle when I enrolled. This interview taught me how easy it would be to get coerced into a false confession and or unintentionally giving law enforcement more information than necessary. There were the usual questions about my maiden name and where I was born. Then, so you've been to Aruba in France? Yes. Ever been to Mexico? No. You've never been to Mexico? No, but I've been to Panama. You didn't ask about Panama, dummy, shut up. But this weird eagerness to please had me by the throat. He moved on with 2 or 3 more standard questions, then said, so you've never been to Mexico? Once again, I replied, no. I spent the rest of the interview and fingerprinting process shaking and sweating and racking my brain whether I had ever been to Mexico. On other trips to Central America, did I have a layover in Mexico I didn't remember? Does that even count? Y'all, I have never been to Mexico. 3 questions in 5 to 6 minutes with a full belly and a good night's sleep and not even being questioned about a crime. And this man had me questioning my reality. Can you imagine if a person is tired, hungry, and scared? So this is all to say, as I reflected on this incident and my own failing / overconfidence, I remembered some advice from massage therapy school that I learned and I would like to share. Practice saying your boundary phrases out loud and before you need to say them, because someday you will need to say them. Say it out loud to someone you trust multiple times. I want an attorney. I have a right to an attorney. I'm going to remain silent until I speak with an attorney, or whatever Heather suggests. Practice taking a deep breath before you answer so that you don't say more than you need to. My eager babbling about Panama still makes me cringe. If they accuse you of trying to think of a lie, fuck them, because you're not speaking until your attorney is present anyway. Obviously, these phrases don't apply to my global entry interview, but the principle is still the same and can be applied to a variety of boundary setting scenarios. Practice your statements out loud before you need them if you can. It will make them so much easier to actually come out of your mouth when you do need them. Love you all. Thank you.
This is such great advice.
What a great reminder.
Yeah.
And those phrases are all great. Those would work, in my opinion.
Any other ones you suggest?
You could say, I am invoking my right to remain silent and I want a lawyer. And if then stop talking. I love those lawyers that have the viral videos that are like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. It's really good advice. And like, you don't have to talk your way out of something. Don't try to answer harmless questions. Where were you earlier? Can we just chat off the record for a minute? Don't lie. Lying, they can lie to you, but you can't lie to them.
Not
so
fair.
Definitely don't lie. Don't sign anything without a lawyer present. Don't waive your rights, even if they're like, it's just a friendly thing. We just need you to like have this Miranda waiver. Just sign this quick thing. It's no big deal. They'll try to downplay it or like, it'll just go easier for you if you talk.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. Fuck them. You have a right to remain silent under the 5th Amendment. You have a right to an attorney under the 6th Amendment. And once you invoke those rights, clearly they have to stop questioning you until there's a lawyer present. Now they can take you somewhere to, they can take you to processing or whatever. Still don't say anything. Like you don't have to answer
no matter
anything.
how much they try to hound you into it, because they do say like, well, we could get an attorney, but that's going to take a while. And you probably want to get out of here. So if you just want to talk to us for a minute, no. Because as soon as you're like, all right, they know they've got you.
Yeah. And the same if they knock on your door and are like, we just want to talk to you on your porch for a minute. I do not consent to any searches. I'm not coming outside. Am I being detained? Like, do you need me to, like, they say, oh, you're not being detained. No, we just want to talk to you for a minute. I'm not answering any questions. Have a good day. No.
Bye.
And then I'm invoking my right to remain silent. Like, I'm not speaking without an attorney and going outside just to chat, letting them in just for a few minutes. This isn't to be hostile. I think oftentimes you hear it framed in pro-police circles, and I'm certainly pro-law-abiding police, that if that's true, then just do it the right way. It's like, don't try to coerce people out of their constitutional rights.
Yeah.
Like, you can see why you're the bad guy in this scenario, right? So,
and there's situations where, and we all can read them. If a cop shows up and knocks on your door and it's like, hey, there's a we saw a kid down the street. Do you know where he might be? That's one thing to like help him out. But if it's, you feel like you're being, they're trying to imply you've been a part of something or question, you know, if you were involved, you don't owe them shit.
Truly. And the same with entering for purposes of immigration enforcement. I do not consent to any searches. Do you have a judicial warrant signed by a judge? Because oftentimes the ICE quote unquote warrants, which are really just like a form I-200 or a form I-205, they're not valid for entry without consent. So unless they have a judicial warrant signed by a federal judge or a magistrate, not signed by an ICE officer, it's not the same thing. So it's like, hold it up to my Ring camera, hold it up to my window. I want to see that you have an official judicial warrant signed by a judge, not some like form or whatever. Because a lot of footage is circulating out there right now of people either completely plainclothes or just wearing like an ICE windbreaker and like a mask over their face. And it's like, quite frankly, there's a reason why federal agents have to show their badges is because I am concerned that bad actors are going to vigilante style dress up and or break into people's houses for purposes of robbery, rape. I don't know. But what an easy way to get into a vulnerable community is preying on the fact that people don't know their rights. And if I'm arrested for giving you this information to which you are constitutionally entitled, write me letters.
I'll bail you out. What Thanks, am I kidding? I'll be in the same cell.
They're going to put that in the law. For both of us. But yeah, I do not consent to any searches. I choose to remain silent and I want to speak to an attorney. That's it. And you just don't have to say anything else. Like I said, start going through, think in your head, what is the name of every teacher I've had since kindergarten through senior year? Like just take your mind off of it and think of something else. I mean, just, wait. I'm waiting.
So what about the footage where you see people apprehended on the streets by ICE agents and they don't get to say anything, even if they're asking for stuff? It's just, no, your hands behind your back, you're handcuffed and taken away.
Yeah, certainly never fight an officer or someone who appears to be an officer. And that's kind of the danger, right? Is when they refuse to identify themselves. How do you know if it's your friend's boyfriend doing a fun kidnapping proposal prank, a real kidnapping, or real, actual officers of the law? But yeah, I would never advocate for resisting arrest or anything like that. It can always be worked out. You see people oftentimes like, oh God, don't put the handcuffs on me or whatever. It can be worked out. Make sure somebody knows where you're at all times, can helpfully trace where you've gone, and hopefully get to you before they send you to El Salvador.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the issue. Is the alternative is they've got big fucking guns.
Yeah.
So, if they kick my door in and knock me on the ground, I'm not going to try to fist fight. I will lay there like a rag doll and just let them put the cuffs on me and walk to the car and, deal with it later on. There's plenty of law abiding, thoughtful attorneys who are still, taking cases like this. They're busy as hell because they're taking cases like this and they're winning. So it's not totally lost yet. And I think just a calm recitation of your constitutional rights is the way to go. Because everybody most of the time wears body cam footage and stuff, so that it will be shown that you were well within your rights and stuff like that.
And if you see it happening, film it.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, you do have a right to film stuff. They might go like, oh, back up, whatever. Go to the ACLU website for specific legal parameters of filming in your area, because some states have, it might be so many feet away or whatever. So definitely know your rights by the ACLU, but there's nothing wrong with cop watching. Certainly.
Cop watch coming this
You're out
fall.
On the street. Yeah, right. You're out on the street.
But this is a really fascinating point you make, Susie, that like, even when you haven't been to Mexico and this is just like some kind of, not a passport, but you know what I mean? You're trying to get, and like, even that, you're questioning stuff. So yes, somebody that's like young, doesn't know their rights, is already in a vulnerable position, getting coerced into something. I also love that you learn this in massage therapy school, because that is an industry where one does have to establish boundaries, and it's very important to make them known. And I hadn't really thought about how often that might happen, but I'm heartened to see that like this is part of their training. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for us for knowing it now too.
And I've never had somebody tell me this, but I would agree. And I say, everybody practice right now. I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and I want a lawyer.
I'll be saying it to my kids later.
Yeah, that's why I tell my nieces that all the time. I'm like, if someone is trying to fuck with you, just be like, call my lawyer.
Oh, I'm going to say that to my kids later.
Yeah, okay.
When they want something, they'll be like, I'm invoking my right to say anything. You can call my lawyer. And they're like, where's Heather?
They're going to FaceTime
What's
call me.
Heather's
And I'm going to
phone
be like,
number?
I'm here to speak on behalf of my client. What are you trying to ask? I'll help negotiate this. Yeah. My client is not taking those questions at this time. But time will not be pushed back by 30 minutes.
We're
Unfortunately.
not doing more TV tonight, no matter what you threaten.
We are not negotiating. They're good negotiators too. The one or two times I've babysat, I'm like, damn, you make a good point. And you're like, yeah, they've tricked you again. And I'm like, indeed they have.
Yes. Well, but for real, practice it and have those phrases, because just like with practicing to use like mace or tasers or any of that we've talked about before you actually need them, falls under the same category.
Most definitely. Well, thank you for that tip. We appreciate you very much. And Susie, and we hope you don't ever need that phrase, but now we've all practiced
We
it.
have.
Sinisterhood will be right back. There are lots of awesome things that have come out of Australia, and we've talked about one here on the show, like Yowies and their sweet, sweet, thick nectarine milk. But my new favorite Aussie export that's finally available in the U.S. is the koala sofa bed. They're beautiful. There's so many color options. And honestly, sofa beds are so convenient to have in your house if you're going to have people visiting, or, you never know if like a pipe's going to burst in a friend's house and they've got to have somewhere to sleep. Might as well have something better than an air mattress. Koala sofa beds bring mattress level comfort and style right into your living room. Built with the same luxurious technology as their top rated mattresses, these sofa beds eliminate the stiff metal frames of traditional designs, so you get pure cloud-like support whether you're sitting or sleeping. Plus, Koala's color palette, drawn from the Australian outback, means you'll find vibrant, Instagram-worthy hues instead of the usual beige or gray. Assembly also couldn't be easier. Everything you need slides, clicks, or screws together without tools or frustration. Designed to fit even the coziest homes, the Koala sofa bed comes in 3 sizes, ideal for small spaces, negating the need for a dedicated guest room. On top of that, Koala is B Corp certified, donates over $6.5 million to environmental causes, and partners with 1% for the planet. Enjoy free shipping, free returns, and a 120-night risk-free trial to make sure your new sofa bed is the perfect fit. Upgrade your space with the most stylish, customizable, and elevated sofa bed available. To get $100 off your new sofa plus fast shipping, go to us.koala.com/creepy. That's us.koala.com/creepy to get $100 off your new sofa. Koala. Comfy, easy, sustainable. Well, this final one is from my darling daughter, Anonymous, and she gives us a subject line, attempted coup at the Library of Congress. Hello, dear friends, and thank you for all you do. I'm reporting from inside the Library of Congress. Anonymous because, obviously. As I'm sure you are aware, last week, one of Trump's staffers fired Dr. Carla Hayden, 14th Librarian of Congress, with a 2-sentence email. The email began, Carla, even though this lady has a PhD, and it's incredibly invalidating and ignores the credentials of the first woman and the first Black person to hold the office. Supposedly, it was due to her pushing DEI and inappropriate material on children. This is a blatant lie. There is a Center for Young Readers that does pro-reading programming, but this is a research library. They don't lend books, and you must be over 16 to request materials. Let's take a minute to note that among the things the library does is provide advice, answer questions, and get resources for members of Congress, confidentially. So let's say they're voting on a bill regarding gun control. A member can ask the LC for information on gun violence. We have all the questions and all the answers for the last 50 years. If Trump or a Trump lackey has control of the library, they can use this info to blackmail members of Congress or to change the answers they get to fit their agenda. That's chilling. No impartial information. Then, on Saturday afternoon, he fired copyright registrar Shira Perlmutter. Yes, the U.S. Copyright Office, housed within the Library of Congress, where all literary material, books, music, sound recordings, scripts, movies, paintings, photos, and podcasts are registered for legal protection. This came shortly after she published Part 3 of the office's stance on AI, which said that AI training on copyrighted material may not fall under fair use. I won't get into fair use here, but there's no bright line law and it can only be determined by a judge. Take a look at the Fair Use Index. Trump then appointed an acting librarian and acting copyright register. This is illegal, hence the brush with true crime. The president can nominate a librarian whom the Congress must approve. In the meantime, the law states that the acting librarian is the deputy librarian, our Saint Robert Newland. Only the librarian can appoint the Register of Copyright. So, on Monday of this week, some of these assholes all roll up to the Copyright Office in the Madison building. Some of the reporting says they were turned away from the building. This is not true. Anyone can come in the building, through security, of course. They rolled up to the Copyright Office inside the building, and the copyright lawyers said, nope, you are not the register, you are not our counsel. Our general counsel got involved and ran that shit out of the building before Capitol Police had to get involved. It seems that Congress is finally realizing if they keep sucking the orange butthole, they will become fully disposable. Now, if the Library of Congress seems far removed from your everyday, let's turn to the attack on libraries everywhere and the IMLS, the very small org that gives funding to libraries, archives, historical societies, and museums, including zoos and botanical gardens, not to mention research grants to people finding ways to make it more accessible, especially to disabled persons. Trump shut it down and has rescinded all grants, even though Congress doled them out. It's not about saving money. The whole agency is less than one of the planes that Hegseth has lost already. It's attempting to make all history, arts, and culture and information a one-sided pro-Trump narrative that will obviously erase all others. So, here are some things. 1, spend your summer going to all the things. Libraries, museums, zoos, gardens. Show these institutions and, more importantly, the people who make it their life's work to support these institutions that they're worth it. 2, go to your local county library board meetings. Many are on Zoom. This is where the crazy people are screaming about books that represent anything but straight white men. Go and be a sane person who likes Toni Morrison. 3, call your reps and tell them you support the IMLS, Dr. Carla Hayden, and Shira Perlmutter. Say you support legislation that protects copyrighted works like this podcast from being mined by AI without consent or compensation. Love you guys. The end.
The end is right.
I'm proud of my daughter.
Feels like the end, but this is very good information, and we need more people like you, Anonymous, that are like on the inside giving us the intel, because it is fucking nuts. This is fucking nuts.
But I love to see that there's fighting back, right? The lawyers saying no, being outspoken. I did not know about this. Thank you very much for informing me, Anonymous. I will be calling my representative, even though Julie Johnson's awesome. And it's nerve-wracking because people actually answer her phone, unlike Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, who nobody ever answers. But if I call my rep, they're like, hello. And I was like, you're a real person.
You're like,
oh,
shoot. But that's why you have a script written out, too. That's helpful.
And I do. I do. I always pre-write my talking points. I'm like, I'm here to talk about X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, we're on it. We're going to do X, Y, and Z back. I'm like, just want you to know, mark it down. They're like, no, thank you so much for calling. Absolutely. So regardless, even if you're like, they probably already know this, just clocking it that it's something that your rep should pay attention to and, lend their voices to and lend their support to. There's, I was going to say only so many issues, but there are so many issues. So, I mean, just making sure that they're keeping them all top of mind, because this is an important
not
aspect.
Letting things fall through the cracks or get ignored, because I mean, we were just talking about AI on Sunday Scaries and all the
what's happening,
the things. And I mean, podcasts or anything that's online are being mined without consent or compensation and can just be used in whatever way.
It's like the early days of the internet where we didn't have laws. And so like there was, bootleg movies were on the internet. And now obviously there's a ton of different ways that copyright's being monitored. It's like AI is just way ahead technologically to where the laws haven't caught up yet. And on the whole, regulation side of like water usage, where they're being put, the stuff that's coming out of the OpenAI plant, I believe outside of Memphis, is creating like air quality issues. So a lot of these, it's like full steam ahead and it's like, okay, yes, but also these are things that are going to need to happen to safeguard the people around it and the things that are used. It's like the internet. We couldn't do this job. We couldn't know you all without the internet. but with the having regulations on the internet keeps people safe.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Ideally. Yeah.
Yeah, ideally. So it's the same with AI, but goddamn, well, another thing to call about.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted, it's Heather. I like to go, hi, Raphael, it's Heather McKeegan, your favorite constituent.
How's Cancun, buddy?
How you feeling, Raphael? So, yeah. Oh, man. Well, thank you for fighting the good fight,
Yes.
Anonymous. You're making your mama proud.
Yeah. Get into some good trouble and tell all your colleagues thank you as well. It takes all of us doing our part to finally, I don't want to say overthrow because I feel like that gets me on a list, but you know.
I want to speak to my lawyer. I do not consent.
I'm already on a list, so I doubt that will probably hurt me anymore.
No.
But
but you can quote the Lorax, I believe, who said, what is it? Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.
mm-hmm.
So there you go.
That is true. Lorax, what a great story that is.
You know, there you go. That's one you can't take me to jail for, right?
Well, thank you all so much to everyone that sent in your Freaky Friday stories today. If you have an odd but true story, maybe you've encountered Bigfoot, you've seen a UFO, you had a brush with true crime, or you felt the presence of an otherworldly being, send them in at sinisterhood.com/Freaky Friday. Speaking of freaky, you got something creepy caught on camera, found a weird or unexplainable clip online, maybe you just have a funny video you need us to see. Send it our way and we'll live react to it during Sunday Scaries, our weekly live stream over on Patreon every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. It's totally free. You just put in your email to sign up as a free member. And you can submit those videos at sinisterhood.com/scaries. Man, oh man, did we have some good ones last night that
Such a blast.
One of them got me so tickled that I nearly passed out from laughing so hard.
Oh, it was so fun. And also Sunday Scaries, you can rewatch them on demand. It's not the same as being there live. Shout out to everybody that continually shows up every week.
Yes.
We've got such a fun crew when like new people are joining every week. So it's fun to see familiar names, new names that are going to become familiar names. You guys make us laugh so hard. Like we doubled over in laughing because of how funny you guys all are and the videos you send. And it's just such a nice community. But if you can't be there live, there's a collection also free on Patreon. You can go watch all the past streams. Again, totally free. You just sign up as a free member and catch up on now. There are 13 iterations of Sunday Scaries.
Lucky 13.
Hey, baby.
As well as a bunch of other stuff for free members too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you get your monthly bonus content, the archive of all those and all that good stuff.
Movie roasting things and other things we've released over the years for free members. And not free members, but free trials. What are those?
Well, if you join for free for a week at any of the levels, you check out all the perks and you cancel anytime before the trial is over without getting charged. But during that free week, what are all some of the perks they can try out?
You can get ad-free episodes, monthly live stream Q&As. They're on the third Thursday of every month. We just had one. It's a lot of fun. It's up there now. We do quarterly live bonus content, weekly audio bonus content, mini-sodes, merch discounts, and a community of the best listeners on the whole internet.
And if you missed our Full Moon Energy touring show last year, now is your chance to own it on demand on Patreon for the lucky price of $13. Do not try to buy it on an Apple App Store phone. It's going to try to charge you $19 and Apple keeps that $6. We don't see that. So if you're like, bitch, you just told me it was $13, go to a web browser like it was $19.99 and type in www.patreon.com. Buy it on the browser, watch it in the app. You don't have to pay the upcharge, but you get to see the full stream of how we had Full Moon Energy, including not only my duster, but also your lovely surprise at the end.
So great. So great. Yes, at the Texas Theater. It was such a fun show. And now you can relive it over and over again.
I relive it every time I wear the bracelet that you got me that has not just a full moon, but the full moon of the hunter's moon on it. And that's like become one of my, like, when I dress up, I always wear that.
Oh, thank you.
For the memories.
It was a great show. And thank you to everybody that made that tour what it was. And we came up on like a year of it. It's crazy. This time last year, we were touring it. So as a special little thank you, it's now available for everybody. And we've got some behind the scenes footage in the works too that will come out in the coming weeks as well. So look for more info on that.
Absolutely. Head over to Sinisterhood.com and click shop on the top banner to check out merch like t-shirts, mugs, totes, stickers, and even clothes for your kiddos.
While you're on our website, you can also review the show, submit topics and cases you'd like us to cover, submit things for Freaky Friday, Sunday Scaries. You'll also find fun things like topic-based playlists and...
Choo-choo. Why did I do a train sound?
We're going on a train
We're
on
gonna
the
take
ocean.
a train.
They call those cruise ships. Crime Wave at Sea 2025, November 3rd through 7th. It's the ultimate true crime festival at sea. Man, it's going to be a good time.
I'm just calling it a water train.
A water
but it
train.
Really
Yep.
is. We can't wait. It's not just us. It's going to be us as well as Henry and Ed from last podcast, the folks from True Crime Campfire, from Scared to Death, plus all of your brand new besties that you haven't met yet. That's the magic of this. It's folks with shared interests that also are going to be doing fun cruise ship stuff. So we're going to be doing karaoke, belly flop contests, hanging out on the Lido deck, live streaming dance competitions. I'm not running one. I'm just going to join into one.
There's a nightclub that goes
yes.
all night into the mornings. Also, we've got the open sky and the dark sea below. And at some point, somebody's going to see something.
We've talked enough
Certainly.
about the extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, whatever they want to identify as. We've talked enough about them that I think they're going to make contact with us.
I think
So
they will.
we're going to sail through the Bermuda Triangle November 3rd through 7th. Go to crimewaveatsea.com/sinister to get your fan code, book your cabin, go to our Discord server to chat with other folks who've already booked, as well as find some new besties, maybe find a roommate. Who knows?
Yeah.
Over on the Discord.
We're not just going through the Bermuda Triangle. We're also going to the Bahamas and to a private island.
Yes,
and
indeed.
doing excursions. We will also, I thought it was funny to think of a cruise and all you do is just sail around the Bermuda
Just go in.
Triangle. There's no
Triangles.
stops. It's
Nope.
just, we'll see what happens.
You're like, oh, that island looked nice. And they're like, that's not what the cruise was for. And it's like, well, I wanted to stop at that private island over there. Get on a different boat
Nope.
then.
Maybe
on
you
this
will.
one-
Maybe you'll slip dimensions and you can go in that other one.
We will, but we're going to all the fun stuff. Go to crimewaveatsea.com/sinister and we'll see you on that boat. Go on
Yeah.
vacation with us.
Please do.
Follow us over on Instagram and Threads at Sinisterhood Pod. Like us on Facebook at Sinisterhood and follow us on YouTube and TikTok at Sinisterhood Podcast to watch clips from episodes, live streams, so much more. And if you're looking for a unique and personal gift for the Sinisterhood fan in your life, may we suggest a cameo now. You can use it to treat yourself, to wish someone a happy birthday, celebrate a graduation, Father's Day, etc. Whatever special occasion in your life needs to be marked, we would love to help create a customized video that can be immediately viewed and sent. The guinea pigs can be in it. Pedal, maybe
on cue. They just started
horse head.
yeeping over there.
They were so excited. McGruff, any of that fun stuff. It's a thoughtful gift and it's perfect when you don't want to deal with shopping. You can order it from your phone anywhere you're at cameo.com/sinisterhood. Where are you at online?
I am on Instagram and Threads at Christy M. Wallace and TikTok at Christy or GTFO. Heather?
I'm on the internet at Heather versus the World,
As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
which we learned is from the Dyatlov Pass episode.
Thank you for asking in the Q&A. Now we know where it came from.
Now we know, and keep it creepy. Mwah.